I was always been a really curious person and loved to play. I've always been, as a child, really joyful, really happy. My dad, who was very serious, used to always wonder how I could be so happy.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So
Might be a good time to mention the name of your company.
the name of my business is The Joy Effect.
The Joy Effect.
Right, and
So
so-
apparently your childhood is present today.
It is a thread all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's when I started to not feel that, I knew I had to make some changes.
Wow. Well, tell me
Yeah.
about that. So joyful as a child, you're happy teaching your friend Jody. Was
Right.
there a time where you lost the thread of who you were and the
Yeah.
joy of it?
I would say so. I spent about 15 years in corporate business, and it was really stressful. And when I do something, I do it probably like you, Joan, 150%, right, to make it happen. And I'm sort of like a dog with a bone when I get an idea or a job or a business or whatever. And
Yeah.
so anyway, it just consumed me, and I just realized that I needed to do something differently to create some balance, a more holistic life. And so I literally chose to leave the corporate world and create something that allowed me to live my values more.
Yeah.
That joy, the freedom. I'm a big proponent of freedom and self-empowerment. And I didn't really feel all of that in my career. And I guess it's just a passage of time. Things become important to you at different stages.
Yeah.
And I wanted to first do that for myself and then help others create that life too.
So here you are, you're probably very successful in doing what you were doing in corporate America, I would assume.
It was a good business.
You left. Did you know where you were going?
Had no idea. I was 7 months pregnant with my third daughter, and I said, I'm going to figure this out.
Wow.
Literally, I just stepped away because it just wasn't working for me anymore.
Yeah. So what's the process that you go through? You know that you love to teach, you love to coach. You
right.
didn't love what you were doing.
Right.
What's the process?
Well, I had the daughter, took 2 months off, and I said, okay, what's next? And just kind of identified my priorities, and really it was to live more holistically and integrate all aspects of my life, and not feel like it was all business. And now I had 3 children, and so what was most important to me, I decided, was working in some form of wellness, empowering people to live how they wanted to live, and living in balance myself. So that's really what I wanted to create.
Yeah.
So I got into energy tools and health coaching. And so that was for about 20 years. And then about halfway through that, I got into the energy healing work of it. And about 5 years ago, in that energy healing, energy practicing part, my mentor, Maureen, you know her, one day she just said, Nancy, when are you going to do this as a business? I said, today. So literally that's how it started. And
Really?
so from that day on, I created a plan. And I mean, I was doing health coaching and other things, but I just sort of integrated all the business aspect, the health coaching, the energy work, and shifted and got certified in multiple modalities. And then just decided I really wanted to work with business owners because I really relate to business. So I wanted to bring all of this talent or consciousness work that I had become involved with into the business world.
Why? Why was that so important to you?
Oh, I just got a shiver. Because I knew the idea of helping to create conscious leaders would have a multiple effect on their tribes. So that's why I decided to go to where they were, which is business owners, smaller organizations, and put together programs that could help them feel as great as I did. I mean, literally, that's how I felt about it.
That's amazing. Was that a hard sell though? Because I would.
No.
Really?
It really wasn't.
Did you lead with the energy of it? Did you lead with the business of it?
Great question. I just keep getting these shivers. And what that means to me is every time you ask a question and I get a shiver, it means you are onto something really big. So this is really cool how this actually manifested. There was not a networking group, but a group of women that came together with a leader or coach of it. And it was to help bring our businesses to the next level. And so we weren't there to network with each other necessarily, but this woman was sort of leading it. And so that was right at the beginning of when I formed The Joy Effect. And as it turned out, we all, of course, there were only 9 of us. We became very close. They were all my guinea people for
Guinea people.
for trying these new protocols. And so I just came to them and I said, look, I need people to practice on. Do me, do me. So with every new protocol that I got certified in, they were always the people I would practice on. And then I was all done, and then they became my clients.
Oh, really?
That's how it worked. So they knew me as a person, as a business owner, as a former business executive, turning into this person who could help others become who they wanted, and they were getting good shifts in what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then they started referring me out, and that's how my business has grown 100%. So it's been a real organic change and shift.
Yeah. So you don't really have to, I was going to ask, like, who is your typical client? We know leader, we know business, company, people who work in corporations. But what if somebody else comes to you? Is there a space for them as well?
Absolutely. Really, the people that I will work with are committed leaders in their own right, who have a vision they're committed to, and are open to doing it consciously.
Okay.
And so I have people who, I'll tell you what happens. I end up working with people's families.
Yeah.
And I help people's children get rid of anxiety. Because I have such a strong health and nutrition background, I always fold that in, Joan, to what I'm doing, because you don't just grow your business by setting a financial goal. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You have to address all the different energy centers, your mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationship, all those things, and balance them in order to raise consciousness and holistically move towards your vision. So that's what I help people do. And in the process, they have children, they have spouses, and that's how things grow. And so sometimes they come to me with, I want to grow my business. This is my goal. I go, okay, great. And so we start with setting intentions. And what I really do with people is help them tap into their guidance to optimize their intentions. And then we use business strategies, we use energy work to literally move mountains to make it happen. Wow. So I help them create a plan and just incorporate all those different elements.
I think you've touched on a lot of it in that answer, but let's say somebody walks fresh into your place of business with an issue that they want resolved. What is their experience like? What I want to let you walk them through it so there's no concern. If they call, it's like, she has me laying on a table and we're doing, what's it like?
How you and I are talking is how I work with people.
Okay.
And primarily I work over Zoom. So I have people all over the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So their first question is always, well, what do we need to do? And I say, well, what do you want to accomplish? What is your vision? So we always start with the end in mind. Stephen Covey's been teaching that for years, right?
Right.
Everybody else. So starting with the end in mind is the most important thing. I need to know that they have something they're working towards. And so by tapping to their subconscious or their higher self or whatever you want to call it, we identify what would be an optimal intention for them based on their purpose. And once we identify that, I also say, now, do you have a health goal you are working towards too? And inevitably that's true. Yeah. And then I say, is there a relationship issue that you want to address? Well, of course.
Yeah.
So I just help them ease into it. And so many times it's primary, secondary, tertiary goals. But the thing is, once you identify the bigger picture, there's no more work included to get all of those pieces in.
Okay.
And so that's the beauty of it. You don't just do one thing and then move to another. By setting up the whole thing, you're guided to how to reach it optimally in the right time, with the right strategies. And I think the biggest piece is I teach people how to use their own guidance. I'm a teacher, right? So I like people to come to their own guidance and ultimately learn what's right for them so that, they don't need me forever.
So you're their training wheels for a little bit.
I'm their training wheels. I mean, if they want to continue increasing consciousness, they can stay and we continue because that never ends.
Right.
But they don't have to. And so I'm always, when you're a teacher, you're empowering others to be authentic, to be empowered. And so that's what I do with my clients. And so we develop a plan based on what they want to accomplish. And I just fill in the gaps. And usually I meet with people monthly. and do energy work along with business strategy, and just kind of combine it all.
Wow, that's an unusual combination. It
It
feels
is.
like to me.
It is.
Yeah.
I would agree, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a niche.
Yeah.
It's kind of a niche.
Good for you. Is
Yeah.
there a success story that you would
Absolutely, I could
be
share.
able to share? At least one.
Yeah.
Let's see how many show
Well,
up.
after transforming my own life, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have this one is just so powerful for me. I have it's on my website, so I can say her name. Her name is Katrina, and I've been working with her for quite a while. But literally the first year, she came to me with a business goal, and she was in that group of women.
Oh,
And so that just morphed. But then when we got really serious about, after I was all certified, we started working on her business goals, and she had 3 amazing stressors in 1 year. I mean, her dad died, her husband's dad died, and their house burned down.
oh my
So
gosh.
let's count the ways, right?
Yeah.
And so we really focused on managing the stress, moving the blocks that would keep you in, trauma. And I will say, without going through all and she wanted to lose weight. So, so she had a business goal, a weight, health goal, and she also had wanted to work less time. So how I summarize her results are she grew her business almost 20%, lost the weight she was trying to lose, and went down to 4 days a week. So that was pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
And now she is a very serious consultant, very, strong-willed and committed to her vision. And she's my perfect client.
Wow.
But we are still great friends, and I still work with her. And so that would be typically how it works, actually.
So multiple stories like that, probably out of your
Absolutely.
practice.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Every
so,
time.
Wow.
So it's
Are
fun.
you surprised sometimes by?
Never.
No?
No. When you train with Maureen, and I've done a lot of other, certifications too, but here's the deal, Joan, and I know you know this. I'm a personal development geek, from years back. And so I did all the traditional stuff, reading and all the programs and the seminars, and they're great.
Yeah.
And it's good to continue to do that. But when I discovered energy work and healing, the shifts happened exponentially faster. And that's the difference. So when you can combine the traditional and the consciousness, increasing higher consciousness,
Yeah.
it just makes creation so much easier, manifesting what you want, empowering people so much more effortless, I guess.
And is that the thing that's been missing from the business culture for time immemorial? Is the sense of the unseen portion of it? The energetic
Yes.
portion of it?
Yes. I'd like to clarify what I mean when I say that. To me, higher consciousness itself is sort of a unity consciousness where every single thing I do affects you, and every single thing you do affects me, because we're all connected.
Correct.
And when you work in an environment where you treat people respectfully because you trust them, you know that you impact them and that they impact you, you collaborate, you start working from trust, all these beautiful things happen. And that really only happens as you increase consciousness. And so the energy work that I contribute to the mix helps increase that consciousness. So when people start to feel the shifts, they want more of it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And where do you think we are in the world right now with that evolution that seems to be moving a little bit from the competitive dog-eat-dog kind of thing
Yeah.
to a more collaborative environment?
We are definitely, I think, reaching a, what's the word? Tipping point? Yeah, I think we're reaching a tipping point. The energy fields have changed so dramatically over the last 10 years, 5 years, 6 months,
Yeah.
that when you take advantage of those shifts and work with it instead of against it and become more collaborative, as you say, instead of competitive, you get so much more done. And you just reach, to me, you're able to reach that level of joy, abundance, and freedom without all the resistance. So much more effortless and in optimal time.
Wow.
So I actually think that intuition is one of the things we need to develop. most profoundly.
Yeah.
And when you do, you have this just-in-time solution available to you at all times.
Wow.
And when you do that, you just think the flow is there, the resistance is gone. And so, stop needing to be right. Why don't we think about how we can all contribute? And so that's really my message when I work with people. Surrender the need to have to do it your way. Ask for guidance, from within, from above, from people, and then make your own best decision.
Yeah.
But you get the benefit of tradition, you get the benefit of just-in-time information, and my gosh, the solutions are optimal then.
Why wouldn't anybody go to you? Why isn't everybody going to you?
Well, there's a lot of us practicing this, and we all
yes.
sort of put our little, our own talent
Yeah.
pool in there, and it's a great thing.
But if you can accomplish joy, abundance, and freedom,
Right.
it's like, what else do you want?
That's so true. I would agree with you.
Oh my goodness. So tell me about the Community for Higher Consciousness and what was the pull toward that, or helping to create that?
Most of the people that are involved in that community have trained with Maureen Higgins in some way. We're now attracting more people that maybe don't do work with her, but all of the people in there have a similar vision of creating higher consciousness first and foremost, which is unity consciousness, which is that collaborative approach we talked about, where we're just trying to lift people up to be who they are and contribute their talents. And so literally every single person in there may have a stream of similar energy work, but they have their own unique talents. And so I have learned, and this took a while. I remember asking Maureen, well, do they really need another, energy healer, another coach? She said, Nancy, don't ever say that, because what you bring to the party is going to be very different than what somebody else is going to bring to the party. And isn't that true, Joan? It's like we all have our own tribe. And what happens is you have your own energy field and people want that. So you don't compete anymore. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So I finally learned that, several years ago.
That's brilliant.
It takes completely away the competitiveness. And it's because of that the community of higher consciousness can exist. Because we don't work competitively. We work completely collaboratively. We refer to each other all the time. So it's really unique. I've never met a circle like that, to be honest.
Wow, that's wonderful.
It's exciting.
As you're talking, it crosses in my mind. It's like the unity consciousness, but there's also diversity consciousness.
Absolutely.
At the same time, because everything is so necessary to the unity. You can't leave one piece out and have unity. So to honor people's diversity.
Absolutely.
And diverse ways of serving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
How will you know if you have been a success?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe it's the teacher in me, but if I measure my success based on how many people I've empowered to go out and conquer their vision, to achieve their vision. And literally each year when I set my goals, yes, there's a financial goal, but that's not the first goal. For me, the first goal is how many people do I want to impact, through my one-on-one, mastermind, speaking, online programs, whatever it is. And that's how I set my goals. And then based on that, the financial piece unfolds naturally. I think when you're on purpose and doing your calling and you follow your guidance, the rest follows. The money follows, the joy follows, the freedom follows. And it's when you're not willing to stand in your power, speak your truth, that's where people stumble.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you would like to say to somebody who may be a little reticent to call you, or know? No?
I'm a teddy bear. I love talking to people. I always offer a 30-minute free consultation to find out more about how I work, to find out what they're trying to do. And if I don't feel like I'm the best fit for them, I got a lot of other peers in the community that I can refer to. So that's never an issue. And because it is a really collaborative community, we're just excited to help people who want to step forward, Joan. That's really the first step. And so there's no pressure from me ever. There's no you really need to work with me. I tell them what I do. I tell them what I think is possible. And I say, these are the ways that I can help you. These are the way other people I know can help you. And if you're really committed to what you want to do, I know there's somebody that you could work best with. And so they get to choose.
You're joyful, aren't you?
Now I am, absolutely. I mean, it took getting rid of my own blocks and a lot of stuff too, but yeah.
So you've experienced all this that you're teaching.
Absolutely. It's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
You know, you're never done. I'm sure you know that.
Yes, that's the good news and the bad news all at the same
Right.
time. Oh, you're never done, but hey, you're never done.
That's so true. There's always opportunity to not only feel better, but to make a bigger difference. That's what I found. And I think what I found actually is the higher your own vibration or consciousness goes, the more your light spreads naturally and the more impact you can have. So why would you stop? Yeah. That's how I look at it.
Beautiful. Is there anything else that you would like to add? We're kind of nearing the end.
Just how grateful I am that you're willing to help us all get our message out, that this is worth it.
Yeah.
And that one doesn't have to stay stuck in unhappiness of any kind. And maybe you don't want to create a business. Maybe you just want to improve a relationship. Great, let's talk. Maybe you want to create optimal health. Great, let's talk. So whatever intention you have that you want to start with, that's enough. And you don't have to feel like you're conquering the world.
Yeah.
It's just a step into feeling more who you are and who you came to be. That's really what we empower people to do. So that's my dance.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that was perfect.